Hey guys, Grant here. I want to tell you all about my friends at Black Bear Inn and Suites of Gatlinburg who are making it possible to bring this episode to you. As you guys know, I grew up in East Tennessee, and there are two things that all East Tennesseans have in common. We all love the Vols, and we all love the Smoky Mountains. Since I've moved to Nashville, I've been unable to get my Smoky Mountain fix in, but thankfully, our friends at Black Bear Inn and Suites of downtown Gatlinburg have me covered. They are conveniently located at 1100 Parkway and are within walking distance of all the major attractions and best food that downtown Gatlinburg has to offer. To book your Smoky Mountain getaway today, visit blackbeargatlinburg.com or call 865 436 5656 or toll free at 1 800 933 0777.
Welcome to this edition of the Vawlin Out podcast. I'm your host, Jordan, here with my co-host, the real Grant Williams. How you doing today, buddy?
Jordan, oh man, it's a victory day right here. It's much needed after what we saw on Wednesday night. How are you doing today, bud?
Oh, buddy, I'm just fantastic. That was a big win we got today, wasn't it?
It was. This Georgia basketball team is a pretty good team, and Mike White has done a phenomenal job with them in Athens. So happy to see the Vols get back on the winning ways and be able to break this down for all of the faithful listeners.
Yes, sir. We're going to recap the Vols and Dogs here in Athens and take a look around the SEC. Talk about the upcoming trip the Florida Gators are making to the Food City Center on Tuesday night. Let's get down to it, buddy. What do you think?
Well, let's do it, man. So today the Volunteers got their 100th win all time against the Bulldogs from Georgia. So big on that right there. It brings the all-time series to 100 to 61. And this game, fun fact right there, was played 111 years ago this week for the first time.
Wow, interesting.
Been playing the Dogs for quite a bit of time right there. But you kind of look at all this right here, man. The Volunteers won this game today by a final score of 85 to 79. So Tennessee kind of had to play catch up after that rough start to the second half on that today.
Yeah, man, they Tennessee just sort of floundered a little bit there towards the end of the half. I caught the last 10 minutes of the half there real close, and man, they were up by about 12 whenever I was watching it and started watching it. And then before I know it, man, that's cut down to 5 points, and Tennessee's struggling to make a basket, man. They missed, what was it, like 6 straight field goals going down the court, and then Georgia went on a 9-0 run or something close to that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that, man. Tennessee did not play well going into the second half. We'll call it what it is. There's always that scoring lull that this team has to kind of fight back from, and it was in full effect once again today. Tennessee just really couldn't find their footing until about that 4-minute mark at the end of the game right there. Tennessee really just started to take over, and that's where we got to where we are today.
Yeah, well, hey, better late than never, right?
Well, you're not wrong on that. At the end of the day, you're still saying hello to the win column on this versus the loss column, and I'll always take that. But this team has some issues right here, and I think a lot of it has to do with playing on the road this season. For whatever reason, Tennessee cannot go on the road and be able to get a good win right away.
Doesn't seem to matter the sport either, does it?
It doesn't. Football's that way. Baseball, they'll whoop anybody's ass anytime they see him on the diamond. But in basketball and football, man, for whatever reason, the University of Tennessee has a hard time with playing on the road. And like I said earlier this week, basketball is a tournament sport, and the tournament is played in neutral site games on the road. So if you're unable to get it going before March and be able to figure out how to win on the road, it's going to be rough, man.
Yeah, for sure, buddy. Just we got out of there with a win. That's all you can hope for in the SEC on the road. Doesn't matter the sport. Just we got to get better though. Got to get better on the road.
You have to, man. I mean, kind of diving into the stats from today's game. Jonas Adu ended the game with 10 points and 15 boards. So another double-double for the big guy down low, and he played 35 minutes tonight. Dalton Connect. Round of applause for you right there, bud. Go have yourself a day. 36 points in 34 minutes, 12 of 20 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3, 7 of 9 from the line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and he only had 1 turnover to go with all that as well.
My man, I know whenever I clicked it on, he was 5 for 6 from the field, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, had 14 points, and was shooting 50% from the field. So the team was shooting 50% from the field. They were hot. when I
Well, man,
flipped it on.
they were, and all that came from Dalton today. I mean, Dalton is back to being Dalton Connect that we saw against Michigan State, Dalton Connect that we saw against Wisconsin, Dalton Connect that we saw against North Carolina, that we saw against Illinois. You know, Dalton is back to doing what Dalton does, and that's going to help Tennessee cut down the nets if we have those same aspirations still. And I still think the team does. I still think it's a possibility, but it all rides on what Dalton Connect can do on the offensive end of the floor.
Absolutely. And I also want to mention you mentioned Adu there, 10 and 15. Man, he played some solid defense on Toshiwa.
He absolutely did. I mean, man, you look at what Shiwei did in this game right here. He shot. I mean, he got 5 shots off from the field, didn't hit a single one of them, and his only point came from the free throw line. So, Jonas, go have yourself a day, young man. That is what you need to see out of a guy who's a junior playing the best basketball of his career right now. Sure, 10 points. You need more from him when it comes to that. I would ideally like to see Jonas in that 15-point range, which I think we all would at the end of the day. If Jonas is scoring 15 points, Tennessee's putting anybody to bed that they go and see. But he's still playing really good basketball, and it shows right now.
Yes, absolutely. And two, one thing that I like to see out of Tennessee is, and you and I have discussed this before, seems like they can win however the other team wants to play. If they want to get up and down the court, we can do that. If they want to slow it down and make it a half court game, we can do that. I feel like though that we do better if it's an up and down game.
Well, I don't disagree with that. You know, Tennessee needs to be able to play the style of basketball they want to play, which is getting up and down the floor, running out on the fast break, kicking over to the open guys on the corner threes, and all of that. And if you're doing that, you're going to win a whole lot of basketball games. If you've got to kind of slow it down and be able to play at the pace that Georgia wants you to play at, or Mississippi State, or insert team name here, Tennessee is going to have a lot of trouble. I mean, this is still the second ranked defense in the nation for a reason, but the offensive end is where the concerns are for this team.
Yeah, those shooting lulls that we have, man. And the thing about was Tennessee never really had a drought in that first half until the last 2 minutes, and that's when Georgia made their run.
You're not wrong on that, man. And it really just kind of shot Tennessee in the foot. Tennessee is their own worst enemy when it comes down to it at the end of the day. Tennessee can play their style of basketball and be able to play against anybody in the country, but this team can also lose to anybody in the country on any given day because they play up and down to whoever they play. And it really shows today, once again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Did you speaking of which, this was one of my favorite plays that I seen in the first half. Did you see ZZ pick old boy's pocket and just turn around and grin at him and take it in for the layup?
Man, love that. Love that right there. That's the play of the game for me, just because he just took the ball from him and then just ran down the court. I was kind of hoping that the 5'0" guy would try to go for the dunk right there, but that's neither here nor there. I'd just like to see him try to do it because I've seen him do it in warmups before inside the Food City Center. But diving into some more stats from the game, Ziegler with the second best performance for the Volunteers today. 18 points on 38 minutes. He shot 5 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3, and 7 of 10 from the line. He ended the game with 5 rebounds and 5 assists with 2 steals and 6 turnovers. Got to get those turnover numbers up. That's really what kind of shot Tennessee in the foot in this game.
Yeah, it got sloppy there for a good bit, especially once it got stagnant and we started playing down to Georgia. That those last 2 minutes of the first half, it really got stagnant and just sloppy. The
No,
ball would
it was
stick.
very sloppy basketball today. It is what it is. Total team turnovers on this game right here came out to 14 for the Volunteers, which is just way too many. And I mean, I'm Zakai Ziegler's biggest fan. Everybody knows that. I love Zakai. I love what he does. It's something about the guys wearing that number 5 jersey where they continue to put out the best production. And I kind of hate to see that one go away once Zakai's done with his career on Rocky Top. But 6 turnovers, way too much right there, young man. You've got to calm it down. You've got to be the floor general that we all know you can be. And whenever that happens, Tennessee plays their best basketball. Whenever you're not doing that, you kind of get what you got to start off the second half in this game today. Diving into a couple more stats, Santiago Vescovi, 6 points in 26 minutes, 2 of 5 from the field. They were both threes. Other than that, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, and 4 fouls. Josiah Jordan James, 4 points in 27 minutes, 2 of 9 from the field, 0 for 3 from three. No free throw attempts in this game for him or Santi. Josiah ended the game with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, and 2 fouls. Going into the bench production right here, Tennessee had Tobe Awaka with 7 minutes, scored 6 points, didn't miss a single shot from the field. I don't know why we didn't see him in the second half. That question is huge to me on that, and we need some answers on that from Ricky Dale. Freddie Dilion had a good sighting and played really solid ball for 4 minutes in the first half. Once again, where's he at in the second half on that? Rick, you need to be able to answer us on some of these right there. Jordan Gainey, who is just my favorite player on this entire team. I think everybody knows that who listens to the pod. 14 minutes, 0 points, only shot 1 shot from the field that was a three, and it was missed. Other than that, he just did a whole lot of running. 1 rebound, 1 foul. Nothing from him once again. And Jemiah Meshack played 15 minutes, went 1 of 3 from the field, 1 of 2 from three, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 assist, and 1 turnover to end with a total of 3 points in
Hot
15
take.
minutes.
I told it to you earlier. Hot take. Meshack's the best 3-point shooter on the team.
Man, you're really just trying to get me going today, I think. You're trying to get me going right there. Okay,
Oh.
so on Jemiah Meshack, one of the most improved players on the team. His shot is starting to fall, and he's looking a hell of a lot better on the offensive end. But man, when you've got DK, you've got Josiah, you've got Zakai, you've got Triple J, Santi, all those guys, they all can shoot the ball a hell of a lot better from the three. Come on, Jordan. Come
I
on,
just like to
man.
fire you up, Grant. I just like to fire you up.
I knew that's exactly what you're trying to do right there, and I'm not going to let you affect me today, man. I'm going to have a good Saturday.
You know what? I'm gonna do it now. That was not a flagrant foul on Triple J.
Man, it absolutely was. I texted you right when it happened. I said that's absolutely a flagrant. Excessive force to the head or neck area. That's the definition of a
Oh,
flagrant foul. And he hit the man in the face. I mean, he
he
absolutely just took him and slapped him in the face like he owed him lunch money, man. Come on.
he bounced it off. He bounced the ball off his face, man. He didn't hit him in the face.
I mean, whenever his elbow hits him in the face, okay. I mean, if that's part of the ball right there, I'll take it. But
Oh,
man, just
I just like
a piss
firing you
poor
up.
performance. I know. I know you do, man. Piss poor performance once again from the 2 5th-year seniors. And we'll get to that a little bit later in the show, but got to see more from those guys. What I was really impressed with today, man, and I'm going to be honest, is the defense that Tennessee played once again. Sure, you let up 79 points, but a lot of those came from Jabari Abdul-Rahim, which is Sharif Abdul-Rahim's son. So shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies right there. All of you guys who listen to the show know that is my NBA team. But his son is playing for the Bulldogs and had 21 points today. Just played a hell of a game for him. Kind of talking on a little bit more of what the Bulldogs did, though, on the offensive end. Sheway right here, 1 point. Hell of a job from Jonas Adu on shutting him down.
Yeah, Adu didn't really get pushed around much today, and it was nice to see because usually you see one of those bigger guys like we've talked before that's got some bulk on him. Jonas is getting kind of manhandled at times, and you didn't really see that much today. That was nice to see.
It absolutely was, man. I mean, Sheway, great player right there. I know that he's a transfer in from another school, but 26 minutes, he just did a whole lot of running once again. 0 from 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 fouls. Once again, you got nothing from him if you're Georgia right there, which is what you want to see Jonas Adu do as a Tennessee fan. Talking a little bit more about some of their other players. RJ Sunhara, 0 points, just a whole lot of running from him once again. Damari Jr., 13 points, 1 of 1 from three, 3 of 6 from the field, 6 of 7 from the line. Thomas, 14 points, 5 of 15 from the field, 3 of 11 from three, which, I don't know why
That's
somebody's
awful.
giving him the green light right there, but it is what it is. Jabari Abdul-Rahim, which is my player of the game for the Dogs, 21 points, 5 of 9 from the field, 5 of 9 from three, 6 of 6 from the line. 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 turnovers with 0 assists on the game, but 21 points for him. DeLeach had 2 points for the Dogs. Blue Cane, shout out Blue Cane, man. Knoxville native, Catholic high school right there, 4-star. Should have ended up at Tennessee. I don't know what happened there, but he should have ended up in Knoxville. Blue Cane had 9 points today, 3 of 6 from 3, 3 of 8 from the field overall, 1 rebound. No, 2 rebounds. Sorry there, y'all. 3 assists, 1 steal, and 3 fouls. Blue Cane tried to show out for the hometown team and said, "Hey, you should have taken me."
Right? Yeah. I seen him out there. That ponytail had me tore up for just a minute. I was like, "Oh, come on now, man. Come
Man,
on."
so I don't know how closely you followed him. Once again, being the basketball guy, I've kind of watched his high school tape and seen a lot of things from him. Dude, he's had that wacky haircut for years now.
He kind of looks like did you ever watch Home Improvement when you were younger?
Of course I did, man.
He looks like Brad Taylor.
Dude, he does. He looks like Brad Taylor. Blue
Brad
Cane,
Taylor for 3.
aka Brad Taylor.
That and with the name, all you can hear is Mortal Kombat.
Well, man, kind of what one thing on Blue Cane right here too, man. Did you notice on the broadcast when he'd hit a 3, how Tennessee fans for Brew McCoy go brew? They're going blue.
Yeah, I heard that. That was pretty cool.
I kind of like that, man. I kind of like it. I wish that kid would have ended up in Knoxville, though. Like I said, a 4-star kid coming out of high school from Knoxville Catholic. He was rated as the number 77 player in the nation, number 12 shooting guard. So, really wish we could have seen more out of him. He did play his final year of high school basketball at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. So, that right there maybe could have a little bit of something to do with it. Maybe he built that relationship with Mike White whenever Mike White was with the Gators. But Blue Cane, man, I really wish you were wearing orange. You're a hell of a player, and you could do a whole lot for this Tennessee team. Diving into just a little bit more, Hill for the Dogs ended his day with 6 points, 1 of 8 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, and 4 of 4 from the line. And then another guy who just played out of his mind, RJ Mendez. 23 minutes with 13 points, 5 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, and 1 of 2 from the line. He ended his day with 6 boards and a whole lot of running after that.
Nice. One thing I do want to say about Georgia that I picked up on today, at least I want to say they threw up a stat line on there. Seems like they're a pretty solid free throw shooting team.
Man, they absolutely are. Hashtag HYFT was in full effect for the Dogs tonight, hitting it at an 83% clip on that. Diving into some full team stats for the Dogs, 33.3 from the field. Needs to be better than that. You're not going to beat the 5th-ranked team in the country going out and shooting like that. 42.4 from 3. Hell of a day for the deep ball for the Dogs. And then 83% from the line for them. Diving into Tennessee team stats, 47.5% from the field, 35% from 3, and 78.3 from the line.
Nice. I mean, that's a good little stat line right there. That's going to beat most anybody, but not the number 5 ranked team in the country.
No, it's not going to. And one thing I do want to say on this, man, that was really just the most impressive stat for me today as a Tennessee fan. Tennessee grabbed 46 boards versus Georgia's 38. Going up against a team with size like that, you've got to control the second chance points right there. Tennessee with 13 on the offensive end versus, the Dogs had 15 on the offensive end right there. Both teams really tried to control those second chance points, almost identical, but where the big stat that pops out to me is 33 defensive boards for the Vols and 23 for the Dogs.
Well, a bunch of glass eating going on in Athens today, wasn't there?
Oh, there absolutely was. One thing to be concerned about for Tennessee is you did have 14 turnovers in this game, and that is just entirely way too many. The Dogs ended the game with 9. So you gave them 5 more opportunities to get second chance points. And once again, that came from Zakai Ziegler right there. I love me some Zakai Ziegler. Everybody knows that. But you've got to take care of the basketball. Don't just be giving it away for no reason out there, man. It's not worth it.
Yeah, he had almost half the turnovers we had. Where Georgia's at with that 9, anywhere between 7 to 10 is about where you want to be at. If you're gonna have turnovers, of course, you always want to have less than that. But that 7 to 10, that's not a whole lot. That's not a ton. 14's too much.
You're absolutely right on that, man. So a couple of things in this game right here that really kind of stood out to me as well on this. Did you know that Zakai Ziegler is now 15th all time in Tennessee on the assist list?
No
He just passed up Burt Bertelkamp today.
money.
Money. I'm coming for your job right there, Bert. I'm going to take it from you one of these days, bud. And then another thing right here too, Dalton Connect ended with his 30 with a 30-point game again today, fifth of his entire career. And then there's also one stat right here that I am currently pulling up that I think that you're gonna have a whole lot of fun with. Can you tell me the last time that a Tennessee player had back-to-back 25-point games?
If I had to bet, it was either it had to be during the Bruce Pearl era. Chris
You're wrong
Lockton.
on that.
Really?
Admiral Schofield against Gonzaga had 30 points, and then against Memphis, he had 29. Today, Dalton Connect was the next one to join that list. He had 28 against Mississippi State on Wednesday, and then 35 today, I believe, is what he finally ended with. I'll
I think it was
stat check myself
36.
on that. 36 does sound right. You're right on that. It is 36 points for Dalton today. He joined elite company right there. I mean, if you're getting your name mentioned with the Admiral on anything right there, man, I mean, you've made it in Tennessee basketball history.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Who would have thunk it that we're talking about Tennessee basketball like this 8 years ago,
Yeah.
9 years ago?
Oh man. Well, you wouldn't even be the conversation is just in your wildest dreams at that
It-
point right there. And what Rick Barnes has done since he's came to Knoxville is he has turned around this program. He has said, no, we are going to recruit good kids who do the right thing. They can also play some basketball, and we're going to win games with these guys here. And what Ricky Dale has done since stepping foot on the hill has just been unbelievable.
yeah, absolutely, man. We're thankful to have him all day long, twice on Sundays. Got to have him. Thankful to have him.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely right there.
One thing though, I just like ragging on refs. It's a basketball coach in me. Did you see that terrible, terrible foul call on Santi? I know I was razzing you about the Triple J no flagrant, but this one was legit. Like Santi didn't touch the kid, and they called it. He was a 3-point shooter. I think it was Abdur Rahim,
I do
and
remember that one right there. Yes.
Ricky Dell was
Cool.
hot, son.
Well, man, and one thing on Rick right here, too, I don't think I've ever seen Rick Barnes ride the referees as much as he has this season in his tenure at Tennessee. It seems like every single time that there's a call that doesn't go the way he wants to, he's up, he's cussing and yelling and screaming and throwing his hands every which way, which is what you need from a basketball coach. I want a guy like Bruce Pearl on the sidelines who's out there, screaming and yelling, getting in the ref's face because they know if they make the wrong call, they're going to have to deal with him on it. Well, in Rick's time at Tennessee, he's not always been that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing it, man. I love seeing Ricky Dale get fired up. I think Rev Rick's been left of the house here lately.
Well, Ricky Dale's been in full effect. He's there to chew some bubble gum and kick some ass, and he's all out of bubble gum now. He's ready for that Final Four appearance so he can sail off into the sunset being the most loved guy in Tennessee basketball history.
You're right there. Hey, speaking of chewing bubble gum and whoop some ass, do you know what the universal language is that everybody speaks?
What's that?
Ass whooping, and we speak it fluently.
At Tennessee, we do, man. We absolutely do. You gotta go out there and you gotta control the pace of the game. And a Rick Barnes team is predicated on defense. At the end of the day, I've said it multiple times. I'll say it again. And you whoop ass when you play defense. That's what college basketball is all about, right there. If you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. He keeps that kind of whoop us on him all the time.
He absolutely does, man.
So, buddy, talking about this game here, though, what was your favorite moment from the game hearing Dane call the game, Dane Bradshaw?
Oh man, Dane Bradshaw. Shout out VFL right there. I love Dane Bradshaw to begin with. He does a good job with his color commentary that he does. hell of a player at the University of Tennessee back in the early 2000s. Man, I just love how he calls the game. I'm going to give you one of my favorite moments of Dane Bradshaw as a Tennessee Volunteer because I feel like that's only right whenever he calls the game. So,
Yeah.
back in 2005, I want to say is when it was, whatever Bruce Pearl's first year was, that Florida team came to town. They only lost 4 games in a 2-year span and won back-to-back national championships. Well, the first game out of those 4 that they lost, Dane Bradshaw gets the ball from Chris Lofton, goes over there, lays it up and in, and wins the game. I remember being at that game with my dad, with my whole family, grandpa, his best friends, everything like that. And my mom and sister actually went to that game too, which was not anything that they really ever did. But the fans were on the floor. Everybody was just having the best time. And that's when you were like, okay, Tennessee's building something special here.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. Bruce, man, just there was something about those Bruce teams, man. Just from the jump, you knew what we had, you knew what we were looking forward to. Um, Dane was fun to watch. One of my favorite moments of his career was when he dropped 21 against Memphis in
Oh, out there in the
'06.
forum back in 2006, man.
Yeah,
Just a
buddy.
great guy right there, and what I love so much about Dane too, 6'4" guy, came in to play guard and he played every single position except for center. I mean, on those Bruce Pearl teams, he had him out there playing power forward because he was like, I need the guys who I can trust the most on the floor all the time. Dane Bradshaw grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, White Station High School. So shout out to Memphis. You guys know I got a lot of love for the city out there, but it's good to see those guys in Memphis not go play for the Tigers, come east and go play for their state.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's good to see that, and it's good to keep in-state kids in state. That's the big thing too. I like seeing in-state talent come here and do well.
Well, absolutely, man. You got to see those kids do something. And if they grow up loving the orange, there's no reason for them to go anywhere else.
Absolutely, man. Well, buddy, who have you got as your player of the game today? I think we both got the same guy, but
I was going to
you take
say,
it.
I mean, Mr. 36 points back to back, 25 plus games for the first time since Admiral Schofield. I'm going to drop Mr. Dalton Connect on this one. Who are you going to roll with?
I we got the same guy, DK3, baby. He's
There,
back.
there's nobody else right there you can go with, man. I mean, Dalton is back to being the same player he was early on in the season, and it really shows right now. Tennessee's able to do the things that they need to do, and you're not able to do that without Dalton.
No, absolutely. So, new segment we're starting here. Who's going on the Vawlin Out milk carton this week?
Oh man, so we're gonna need to use your Photoshop skills right there and tweet this one out, I think. But Santiago Vescovi, man, why did you even come back to Knoxville for a 5th year? You look disinterested out there. You're passing up the open shots that you've got. You're not doing anything anymore. I mean, it's a piss poor effort by a guy who's in his 5th year in the program, knows everything that the team runs inside and out. Santiago Vescovi, you're going on the milk carton. I love you, Santi, for what you've done in the past, but it might be time to start playing somebody else at this point.
It's starting to look that way, as bad as I hate to say it. I think I'm gonna go. I was gonna go with Triple J earlier, but the boy has played like a grown man for most of the year. He's had a couple bad games back to back, whatever. I'm going with Jordan Gainey. Ever
Well,
since
he shouldn't even be playing right now.
right, well, and ever since old dude come out with the cornrows, man, go back to the fade. Get rid of the cornrows. You've not come out and played good. If you're gonna wear cornrows, have cornrows, you better come out and be ready to ball, brother.
Well, here's the thing on that. Is he playing just because he's the coach's son, or is he playing because he's the ninth best guy on the team? And if he's the ninth best guy on the team, it's time to shorten down that rotation. And honestly, Santiago Vescovi's getting in that mix right there too, where why is he even playing at this point? Other than his defense, Santi doesn't give you anything. Gainey, he gives you absolutely nothing. He's had a couple good games, and that's all he's done this year. Other than that, he hurts you more than he helps you.
Right, absolutely. So, real quick, how big was the rotation that Tennessee put out there today? How many did we play off the bench?
Tennessee ran with 9 guys today.
I think by about mm, last 2 weeks of the month, last week of the month, we'll probably see two guys taken out of that rotation. And it's a hard decision because who do you take out? Because any of those guys really can have a breakout game, but
That's the
you got to look
problem
at
with it.
right, and but to me, if you're going to take one out, you got to look at more of a what have you done for me lately as opposed to what can you do for me?
Well, if you're taking 2 guys out of the rotation, man, one of them is definitely going to be Gainey. And then the other one who played today that probably won't get any more playing time is Freddie Dilion, who had a great first half. I mean, he went in for that 4-minute stretch right there with Ziegler on the bench, and then he never came back into the game. But Tennessee was able to build on what they did throughout the entire game and be able to keep a lead going where I want to see more of Freddie Dilion, but if you're looking at just straight minutes, he only logged 4 minutes today, which was the low on the team. He's probably the odd man out when it comes to that. I think that, you definitely need to cut Gainey from the rotation at this point. He's giving you nothing. He's going out there, he's hurting you more than he's helping you, and it's been that case in multiple games now. Santiago Vescovi is probably about time for you to start coming off the bench, bud, and giving those minutes to Meshack or somebody like that who's going to do something with them.
Well, at one point last year, didn't Ricky Dale bring Santi off the bench and he played really well?
I don't recall, but I don't remember. There's been a whole lot of sleeping I've done in the past 365 days, so I couldn't really answer that one for you.
It seems like I remember it was either last year, maybe even year before last, that at one point they were like, "We're going to bring Santi in off the bench" because the guy had started kind of outplaying him, and now it's not even close. But I swear, I think they had him coming off the bench at one point. Um, we'll see what goes on. We'll see what happens from here, though. All right, buddy, you ready to go into the? Let's see. You ready to go on into the trip around the SEC?
Yeah, but let's get a word from some of our sponsors in real quick, and we'll be right back, guys.
Yes, sir. If you're looking for the perfect Smoky Mountain vacation, Mountain Romance is your cozy romantic getaway. Starting at $129 per night, you get 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and this beautiful cabin will sleep up to 6 people. With an amazing mountain view, fire pit, pool table, and hot tub, this place has it all and is located within minutes of downtown Gatlinburg. To inquire, go to Airbnb and search for Mountain Romance or email bearslair2021@gmail.com. This next segment is brought to you by Three Kings of Cardboard, the go-to spot to upgrade your sports memorabilia collection. Check out their Facebook group and eBay at Three Kings of Cardboard. I have dealt with them personally and will not deal with anybody else. My favorite item from them is my Jalen Wright 1-of-1 Bowman U Superfractor that they have pulled me. Check out our friends at Three Kings of Cardboard today. All right, Grant, what do you say we take a trip around the SEC, Bubba?
Oh man, let's do it. So we are currently recording this at 3:30 Central, so 4:30 Eastern time on Saturday. So there are currently 2 games that are in progress. One of them is a really, really good game. Kentucky is in a battle with A&M with right about 8 minutes left to go in the second half on that. The Wildcats are up by 4 with a score of 68-64. Reeves has 21 points for Kentucky, where Radford for the Aggies has 19.
Nice. So I'm starting to kind of pick up on something here that maybe Kentucky is not quite as good as they think they are.
People could say the same thing about Tennessee, though, too, at the
That's
same
true.
time.
That's
I'm not going
true.
to look too much into that because A&M is a really good basketball team.
They are.
Sure,
They sort
A&M
of
is 9-6 on the year, 0-2 in conference play, but they're still a really, really good team.
sure they've sort of dropped a few that they shouldn't have, but it seems like A&M's kind of getting it together for conference play. So, and those conference games are always tougher to win.
They absolutely are, man. Another game that's currently going right now, and this one just started not too long ago. South Carolina versus Mizzou. Carolina is up by 3 currently, 11-8 on the Tigers from Missouri, but that one is still early on. South Carolina is probably the most impressive team to me so far in SEC play with what they've been able to do. 13-2 on the year, 1-1 in conference play, and the Tigers, which are probably the most disappointing team to me, 8-7 on the year and 0-2 in conference play.
Yeah, that's Carolina's put together a good little run, but let's see. Let's get a little bit further into conference play, see how long they can keep that up.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree on that. So, a couple games that have went final already today. Tennessee over Georgia with a final score of 85-79. We have already broken that one down for y'all. So, check out the first segment if that's something that you want to hear about. And then the other game that has went final today was the Commodores took a trip down to Oxford and lost to the Rebels by a final score of 69-56. Lawrence for the Commodores, 14 points and 6 boards, and Matthew Morrell for the Rebels, 24 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. Really good game for Matthew Morrell on that one right there. Not really a whole lot going on with that. Kind of shocking that Jerry Stackhouse even still has a job in Nashville. Commodores are sitting at the season 5-11, 0-3 in SEC play, where the Rebels are 15-1 with the lone loss being to the Volunteers earlier in the season SEC season play a week ago today.
Yeah, I mean it was Vandy. That's one that surprises me. That, like you say, Stackhouse has still got a job, man. Because I mean they for years that Vandy was never like an elite basketball program. I don't feel like, but they were always solid, especially with O'Neal.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't stand that guy.
Oh, nobody could. So there's one other game currently in progress right now. The Florida Gators are up on the Hogs from Arkansas, 23-9. That one is at the 12-minute media break, and my iPad didn't refresh right here, guys. Sorry. Kentucky and A&M is currently in overtime with a score of 91-89 for the Cats.
Ooh,
So something to kind of watch right there.
that's a juicy one, but that'd be a big upset right there too.
They'd be massive. It helped Tennessee out a lot too, honestly.
Right?
Um, Two other games slated to start later today at 7 o'clock Eastern. You do have the Auburn Tigers taking on the LSU Tigers. Who's the real Tiger right here? We're going to wait and see. Give me your pick on that game, Jordo.
Give me Auburn, and it
I'm going
won't
to
even
go
be
with that
close.
too. Yeah. Yeah, give me the Tigers right there from the Plains. I think that they've got that one. And then Alabama's taken on Mississippi State. The Tide are 10-5 on the year, where the Bulldogs are 12-3. Man, give me the Bulldogs in this one. They've got to go to Stark Vegas and go play down there.
I'm with you there. I'd like to see that. That's a good one. That's going to be a good game. That might be the best game out of what's left on the slate as far as what's not started yet.
Well, and that one is at 9:30 Eastern right there on the SEC network. So
Ooh.
if you guys do have anything to look into right there, I want to watch that game. Make sure you stay tuned for that one. Going to be a great basketball game. Yours truly will be watching that tonight, as long with some NFL playoffs. So if you guys want some live tweets or anything, just keep on messaging me. We'll get them out there right there. But Jordan, one thing I do want to look at right here as well is I want to give the SEC standings, because we've got enough games right now in conference play where I think we can kind of tell who the teams are that are ahead and who aren't.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to hear some of that too.
So right now, the top team in the SEC is the Auburn Tigers, Kentucky Wildcats, Alabama Crimson Tide, and LSU Tigers, all tied for first place. We could be seeing something here within about the next 5 minutes where maybe Kentucky separates themselves or they drop further. But right now, at the current standings, that's where it is. In a tie for second place, you've got the Ole Miss Rebels, Tennessee Volunteers, Georgia Bulldogs. So you got a three-way tie for that. Um, South Carolina and Mississippi State are both tied at 1-1 on the season. And then to close out the rear, right now you have the Florida Gators, Arkansas Razorbacks, Texas A&M Aggies, Missouri Tigers, and Vanderbilt Commodores are all winless in conference play. Vanderbilt is currently sitting at 0-3 just because of the results that happened earlier today.
Man, it's tight already.
It is, man. Well, one thing I want you to do, and this is completely unprepared, but I want to put you on the fly like this. Give me your SEC regular season champion right now from everything we've seen so far. Who's leading the pack for Jordan?
Gotta be Auburn.
Man, I'm gonna kind of throw one out here. I'm gonna see if this sticks, but man, I'm not out on Tennessee yet. Sure, I've got the T on right here. Whoops, sorry, tap to the other side. But I've got the T on right here. Y'all can see it. Love the Vols. I still think the Vols are the best team in the SEC, but there are reasons for concern when it does come to this team.
Sure. Now, I would agree with you there. I just didn't want to be the homer. Um, so I say, I say Auburn for right now. I mean,
Well,
they've won 7 straight by, well, 8 straight, I think now by 15 plus.
yeah.
That's hard to do, you know?
Yeah, well, they are on an 8-game win streak right now with an overall record of 13-2. Kentucky's at 12-2. Bama at 10-5. Arkansas is at 8-2 at home. Overall record for the Hogs is 9-6. Just kind of touching on the teams, I think that could be an issue for Tennessee. LSU is 10-5 with a conference record of 2-0. The Rebels are 15-1 with a conference record of 2-1, and South Carolina is 13-2 with a record of 1-1 inside league play.
Gonna be fun getting down the stretch, buddy. Tennessee's gonna have to grit out a few. I got a feeling.
I think so, man. Well, that has been your look around the SEC brought to you by our friends at Three Kings of Cardboard. Make sure you check out their eBay and Facebook group to add some love to your sports memorabilia collection.
Absolutely, man. Great guys. Great guys.
Great guys, fun to do business with. Shout out to our friends over there. So, you want to talk some Florida Gators, man?
Let's talk some Gators, buddy. Let's get down to it because they're coming to the Food City Center Tuesday night, 7 o'clock.
They are, man. You know, kind of what I've told you before in the past on this. I've told my dad, I've told anybody that'll listen. Tennessee fans, get up for the Florida Gators. It doesn't matter what sport it is. It can be underwater basket weaving. And if Tennessee has a team going against the Gators, all nation is going to be ready to show up and show out and make a fool out of themselves if they have to.
Absolutely. I've been to a couple of Tennessee Florida basketball games, and it's always fun. Always fun.
It's one of the best games of the year. I will be in attendance at the Food City Center for this game. So if you guys are at the game, tweet at me. I'd love to go shake some hands and kiss some babies and do some politicking for Vawlin Out. But, you know, this is going to be a really good game right here, man. I think that Florida is massively underrated for what they've done on the season. Diving into what they've done on the year, the Gators are 10-5, currently sitting at 10th in the SEC, but they're not the 10th best team in the SEC. They're up more towards the middle, if you ask me. Losses this year are to Virginia, Baylor, Wake Forest, Kentucky, and Ole Miss. And Ole Miss absolutely just beat them like a drum on Wednesday night, right after the Tennessee game went final with a final score of 103-85. But this Florida team can score points. I mean, they scored 85 in that. They scored 85 in their loss against Kentucky, 71 in their loss against Wake Forest, 91 in their loss against Baylor, and 70 against their loss in the Virginia game. So they can get the ball in the bucket, and I think that that's going to pose some issues for Tennessee when it does come to that.
They average 86 points a game, man. So they're a solid offensive basketball team. Just nothing don't look like they do anything special. They're just really fundamentally sound and can do, and that's tough to beat, man. Whenever somebody's sound like that, it's just tough to beat. They give up 77 too. So I got a feeling this one Tuesday night might be a track meet, buddy.
I've got a feeling it might be. Can Tennessee's defense show up? That's going to be the biggest thing. Do you get the defense that you saw in the second half against Georgia where you're not really able to stop anything? Or do you get that defense against, that you got against Ole Miss last week where Tennessee throws everything at them and is able to do what they need to do? The Florida Gators 86.1 points per game is 11th in the country. They average 45 boards per game, which is 4th in the country. And assists per game is 16.3, which is tied for 52nd in the nation. The Gators are led in scoring by Walter Clayton Jr., 16.2 points per game. He is shooting 45% from the field in 30 minutes per game. Assists per game is Zion Pullen. He is averaging 4.8, so let's just call it 5. He's also averaging 15.2 points per game with 1.3 assists per game. And Tyree Samuel is the field goal leading percentage shooter for the Gators with 62.9, and he averages 27.2 minutes per game on 13.3 with his points per game.
Yeah, man. I was looking at their numbers earlier, man. They've got 5 guys that average 10 plus points a game, and 2 guys
They
that
do.
average over 7 rebounds. So that's gonna. I think where Tennessee wins this game is if they can keep them off the glass, both ends of the court. That's going to be the biggest thing for them, I think.
Well, it's going to have to be. And this is going to have to be a game, once again, where Santiago Vescovi can get his face off the milk carton. Can Santi go out and say, hey, I'm a true volunteer. This is the last time I'm ever going to play the Florida Gators in the regular season. We may see them in Nashville come March, but is he going to be able to go out there and do what he needs to do? I mean, that's where this really comes to. But man, one thing I do want to touch on right here too is Todd Golden, who is the coach for the Florida Gators. He's in his second season, so you kind of can't really look too much into these stats, but he's 26-22 in his record at Florida. His career head coaching record is 83-58. His first head coaching job he got in 2019 at San Francisco University and was there from 2019 to 22. Then he took the Florida job in 22. Todd Golden is 38 years old, and he is one of the youngest coaches in college basketball history.
That's wild, man. And he's been around too at 38. That's crazy. He's like Tupac. He gets around.
He does get around, man. He was a really, really good player in his days at St. Mary back in 2004 to 2008. He played overseas in Israel for 2 years. Then he came back and got some assistant coaching jobs. He was on Bruce Pearl's staff at Auburn for 2 years. Then he went to San Francisco for 3 years where he was an assistant coach before taking over the reins of that program in 2019.
Man, sounds like Ricky Dale may have a tough matchup with the X's and O's and the Jim and not so much the Jimmies and Joes on Tuesday night.
It's going to be a rough one for the Vols. I mean, this Florida team, they like to play with a lot of pace. They like to score the ball and try to get out there as quickly as they can. This one right here, you're going to have to get some of your guys right. Can Santiago Vescovi get it rolling? Can Jonas Adu start having performances like he had against Ole Miss? That's what you need to see in this game. If you're not seeing that, you're going to have issues when it comes to closing out down the stretch.
Yep. 100%. We get this one's going to need to be a team effort tonight. I don't think we can rely on just one guy to carry us like Dalton did today.
Well, Dalton's been the one who's been relied on for the past 2 games. Sure, Ziggy had a hell of a game on Wednesday night against the Bulldogs from Mississippi State, but can you replicate that performance if you're Zakai Ziegler? Dalton Connect, can you replicate what you did today, or can you replicate what you did on Wednesday night? And then you need one more guy to step up in this game. Is it going to be Jonas Adu? Is it going to be Josiah Jordan-James, Santiago Vescovi, Jemiah Meshack, any of those guys? You need 2 guys to show up and show out that have done it time and time and time again this year, with that being Dalton and Zakai. Then you need to see one other guy go out there and do their job.
I think it would be in Tennessee's best interest to see it be Jonas Adu.
Well, if Jonas Adu does what he's supposed to, you're not going to have any issues in this game. If he goes in, controls the post, and says, no, I'm the one who comes out here and does what they're supposed to, night in and night out. I am the best center in the SEC. You're not going to have any issues. It is what it is.
I want to see that high pick and roll that Tennessee likes to run in full effect Tuesday night with Adu and Zagai.
Well, if you get that, man, there's not going to be any problems.
No,
Turns into what it turns into right there. If you get that, then you get those open shots on the corner. You can get Dalton open on the corner, Triple J, Santi, Meshack, all of those guys, because they're so focused on what happens down in the middle. If you can kick it down to the middle, then kick it back out and open up what's on the perimeter and what's at the top of the key, that is the keys to success to win this game. You're going to have to score points to beat the Florida Gators at the end of the day. What the Vols did today is not going to cut it against this Florida team. I'm going to call it what it is. It's not going to cut it. You've got to get out there. You've got to score in bunches. You've got to score early and often. and keep the game rolling. If you're able to do that, you're not going to have any issues. You're going to be talking about a team that took care of one of your biggest rivals, and then you go into a game against Alabama on Saturday next week too. So this is a really crucial stretch down here for the Vols, if you ask me. You've got two of your biggest rivals, then you've got to worry about playing up in Rupp Arena in a month. This right here is going to show you what Tennessee basketball is made out of.
100%, man. 100%. They need to come out of this week 2-0 in a big way. In a big way.
Well, if you do that, you're talking about Tennessee reclaiming the crown in the SEC and saying, this is our conference. Everybody else is just here.
There you go. And that's what we need. That's what we need to see. So, buddy, what do you say we put a bow on this one? I think we've about hit everything we could hit, don't you?
I think so, man. I think so. Thank you guys for spending some time with us right here. Make sure you like, rate, and subscribe. Hit us on the socials at Vawlin Out Pod, and we will be seeing you guys right after the Florida game.
Yes, sir. Go Vols, and you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and let's watch some playoff football after today. What do you think?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
This episode of the Vawlin Out podcast has been brought to you by our friends at Peace of Mind Enterprises. From construction, home remodel, down to general handyman services, Peace of Mind has you covered.
All technicians are licensed and insured, servicing East Tennessee with 30-plus years of experience. Call 865-202-7167 for a free estimate, because nothing beats having peace of mind.